or 63.5. And we are 3.5 hours in. 3.5 hours in, or are we 4.5 hours in?
He's gone space mad.
I don't know. It's 7 o'clock. Didn't I start at 2:30? We're 4.5 hours in. 4.5 divided by 0.635. Youch. Okay. So 2.5 hours to go, ish. On track for about 7 hours, which isn't bad, considering all the issues that have cropped up, like incompetent pilot. But yeah. By the way, Crash, you there? Did Crash go AFK again?
Sorry,
Would you like to
sorry,
talk
can't.
about TCF?
Uh, I can't really because my girlfriend went to sleep, so I can't talk loud.
Okay.
See, what you should have done is fuck your brains out so
Oh
that you would be
God.
just completely
Okay, well
unconscious.
now we've totally gone off track. Okay.
Anyway, Stephen, maybe call it a Sagittarius A star Buckyball run.
Buckyball run?
Yeah,
What do you mean? It is said that.
it's just called A star run rather than Buckyball run.
Can you?
Buckyball would probably drag in more people.
Oh yeah, it's true. Well, next time I get a jump, I'll do it. Alright, there we go. Alt tab. Bucky ball. 2 words? I don't know. So I don't know what the meaning is. Bucky balls are carbon C60s or some other
I
carbon
think it's
structure.
because people are referring to the cannonball runs, but instead of calling it cannonball, you're calling it Buckyball because that's more scientific.
Oh.
Gotta take a small break myself.
So I'm all alone? What? Ah. Well, hey guys, I'm taking the run here to Sagittarius A star, and we're having some route planning issues. The problem is, as you get closer to the center of the galaxy, the map doesn't like you, and the routing is tougher because it looks at all the stars that you can go along the route, and as the star density increases, the amount of possible routes that you can take increases. Um, I don't know if it's exponentially, but it's certainly non-linear, and that causes a problem for the route planner, which apparently is actually a little slower since the latest patch. And my modules are doing good. I got about 98% on most things. On the FSD itself, 98%. So I can even start being a little more aggressive in jumping right next to the stars and still maintain enough integrity, module integrity to get there. But for a blind run, I think things are going pretty well. A lot of people plan the runs. This was a see as it goes kind of run, and the Anaconda was rolled with 7 level 5 FSD rolls. The last roll was the best. Gave me a 45% boost to optimized mass, which gave me under this current build a 55 and change jump range. And right now I'm running a 32-ton tank for safety. I'm running a discovery scanner, a detailed surface scanner, and a scoop. Everything else has been stripped out. I have a 1D power distributor, 2A power plant, 6A FSD, and D sensors and D life support. If anyone has questions about any part of the game, we have experts in many different parts of the game here who have combined many years of experience in this game. I know it's kind of ridiculous to say, but actual in-game time spent, we have multi-years level of experience here. in the people. So if you have any questions about the game in any respect, don't be afraid at all to shout out. And if you want to join in the Discord chat directly and have a talk, I will give you guys all the link to the Discord.
Hello,
Hello.
this is Pox. How are you? How's the
Hello,
stream
Pox.
going?
It's going well. We're more than halfway there. I think last I computed about 63.5% of the way there.
Very nice. How many light years is that?
It's about 16,000 and change.
Wow. And what time did how many hours has it been so far?
You know, it's more than I thought it was. Really, time has gone by. I thought it was like 3.5 hours, but apparently it's been 4.5 hours.
Very cool. I am also on my pilgrimage out to Jack's station still. I can tell you where I am in just a moment here. Let me see. But I'm a few days in because I've been busy. Yeah, so I'm just over 8,000 light years, so I'm almost at the halfway point to where Jack's station is right now. And so far, so good, although I did have a few strange witch space jumps. My first jump, in fact, because I did a little video recording of it, I had some server lag, which caused some strange effects. So I thought that was kind of funny. It was an interesting omen for the whole trip, so...
So far, the servers have been pretty good to me on jumps. Fingers crossed, but there's... Oh, whoops, time for me to select a new target, apparently. But there's been some route planning issues. Some really bad ones. I think I've lost about 25 minutes from route planning alone.
Yeah, you know, it happens. It's also like scooping and stuff like that. You always want to get into the star, scoop it as efficiently as possible if you need, and then jump out. But sometimes, you know, your trajectory is wrong and it's not as optimal. So I've had a few of those as well.
Whoops, did not want to bookmark that. Thanks a lot, guys.
So you wanted to talk about Canon and the UA and the Thargoids and Jack's station and all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. Go right ahead.
Well, I'm not necessarily the ultimate authority. I'm going to get Julian in here. Commander Julian McCoy, he's going to talk a lot about that. He's been in Canon for longer than me, but basically Canon is a research arm that has now reached in-game status, and the Canon team is effectively trying to figure out everything that they can about the barnacles to prevent sort of destruction of the barnacles. You know, maybe they're a sort of first contact, or maybe they're going to lead the way to first contact, but Canon is all about upholding that sort of, you know, keeping the safety of them as a top priority. So
I've heard that some people are harvesting barnacles for meta alloys.
yeah, you know, and I don't necessarily know what the barnacles are personally. I'm guilty of harvesting them, but I don't make a habit of it. I wouldn't want to incur the wrath of the Thargoids if it is related to them. But there seems to be no answer. Now, we did notice that the barnacles were changing state on power play cycles. I don't know if you're familiar with that development. Have you heard about that?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, let's start right at the beginning anyways. There was a time when the universe was, you know, or I should say the galaxy, empty, devoid of life other than what we knew as the bubble. And all of a sudden, a type of artifact was found in space, an unknown artifact. And when it was collected, at first it was like a myth, like somebody had claimed that they had found one, but there was no proof that it was, you know, even in the game. Then it turns out that when it was scooped, it would do damage to the internals of your ship. But the strange thing about it was that it seemed like it was kind of an organic object or an asset in the game. It was making whale calls, whale sounds, if you will, and it would immediately scan your ship when you jumped into the sector. So, very interesting. They were able to determine that also embedded in the audio of these UAs was Morse code. And there may even be other additional codes or structures or audio sort of patterns that we haven't noticed yet. We were only tipped off to the Morse code because Michael Braven at one point, I believe it was him, said on the forums, "Have you tried listening to them?" It's funny, actually, because
Michael
this
Michael
notion...
Braven?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Michael Brooks. Sorry, Michael Brooks.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, stand by 1 second.
Okay.
I have an artificial, like voice attack AI buddy, and I said a word that set him off, so he was talking over everything.
I was
So,
gonna say, I personally don't believe the barnacles and the UAs are Thargoid.
yeah, well, there's been a lot of talk that maybe there's some sort of, hybridized thing from a military perspective. What do you think the origins of it are?
I think that there's another race out there. I wouldn't really call it a race, but more of some kind of collective AI that is biological as well. And I think the UAs were just beacons they're like data points, and they were cycling data back to one source.
So,
Which
go ahead.
Well, it's just I spend a lot of time reading a lot of this material that's written and lore from the old games, and it just seems to me that the Thargoids, if they were the UAs, it just wouldn't make sense because they already knew a lot about us, and if these devices are just basically gathering intelligence on a basic level of one species to another, it just the Thargoids were so brash and forward in the way they dealt with humanity before, and they didn't have a need for spying. That's what I'm saying. They were like a collective mind that just kind of like went in, and if they were threatened, they just freaking went hostile on you. It doesn't
So,
make sense.
do you suppose that there is a connection or a correlation between the UAs and the barnacles? In other words, whatever these are from, are they from the same thing, or are these two independent situations?
That I'm not sure about. I actually got a bunch of guys in my group who are out in the Formidian Rift right now.
Outside Factor points out that many of the second generation barnacle sites appear in shipwreckage. So it's possible that the barnacles stem from UAs. UAs damage ships, they crash, then barnacles grow from that seed.
Well,
Which sort of makes me wonder: has anyone tried planting a UA? Simply
Finally.
dropping one and at a site, waiting a week or two, and coming back and see if there's a barnacle there.
I don't know if it's been explicitly tried. I certainly haven't. I've kind of, because they're rare to come across, I've kind of kept them for as long as I could. But I like the idea of a seed. In fact, have you seen the unknown probe? Because it almost looks like a barnacle is going through, or sorry, an unknown artifact is going through a type of mitosis. It almost looks like it's having a baby or becoming two, like it's replicating, which is further to the seed concept.
That could be, but that also makes me wonder what happens when you combine the two. I'm guessing people have already tried that.
or all three.
Yeah,
All three?
they don't seem to really do anything.
The barnacles almost kind of look like they'd be some sort of gate. The way they're structured. I mean, it's almost like it seems like you want to put something there in the middle of it.
Well, I did some studies on the barnacles looking at the textures in the Vive, because the thing that's characteristically different in Elite with the Vive is that you can kind of cheat the game in a way. You can get out of your SRV because you have the headset on that will drag the camera with it, and you can walk around like surface side. It actually feels like you're walking on the surface. The thing that's neat about that is you can get right up close and personal with the barnacles. You can do this in the classified camera as well, but you don't get the same sense of scale. Like barnacles are about 40 feet